أكثر وأن يورط نفسه أكثر أو أن يرتكب حماقة بالاستهداف لبلدنا أو بالحرب على بلدنا، فلن نقف مكتوف الأيدي. سنستهدفه هو، سنجعل البارجات الأمريكية والمصالح الأمريكية وكذلك الحركة الملاحية الأمريكية هدفا لصواريخنا وطائراتنا المسيرة وعملياتنا العسكرية.
Yeah, so the Houthis, this shit with the Houthis is gonna hit different, right? This is gonna hit different. This ain't Hamas, it's not Hezbollah, right? The Houthis is hardened fighters, right? And they own that whole coastline coming around the Red Sea. The Houthis, in case you were sleeping the past few years, which a lot of people were, the Houthis pounded the shit out of the Saudi Arabians, head choppers, right? The Saudi Arabian 9/11 head choppers, the people that were contracted to run the 9/11 operation, right? That took down the trade towers and hit the Pentagon, the Saudis, right? Which is all public information. Um, yeah, so the Houthis pounded the shit out of them and sent their ass back, running back across the border when they came to Yemen. And then after that, what happened? All of a sudden, Al Qaeda pops up in Yemen, right? Al CIA Qaeda. Al Qaeda started running operations in Yemen against the Houthis. Mysteriously, right? No Al Qaeda in Yemen. All of a sudden, after they kicked the shit out of the Saudis, here comes so-called Al Qaeda, right? Terrorists trying to do operations against the Yemenis. What happened to them? You don't hear about that anymore. Why? Because they stomped the shit out of Al Qaeda in Yemen, right? Stomped a mud hole in their ass. Huh. Mysteriously, no more Al Qaeda in Yemen. I wonder why, right? Next up, the NATO coalition, right? Well, not the whole coalition, because Spain today said, listen, they vetoed the EU and said, yeah, we're not getting that. We don't. You say you want some of this? Spain and NATO. They said, yeah, nah, we good. I think we good. So Spain vetoes the whole thing for the EU involvement. So there can be very limited EU European involvement in the Houthi Yemen operation, right? The Red Sea operation, right? They decided to bow out. They didn't want none. It hasn't even gotten started yet, right? So the Houthis issue statements, right? Basically, if you pull up, we gonna put you down, right? As in down on the bottom of the Red Sea. So hopefully motherfuckers bought their swimming trunks. I hope they bought their swimming trunks. They're gonna need them. They're going swimming. But the Red Sea is beautiful. So if you look at some of the videos, oh man, it's some of the most beautiful ocean I've ever seen. So I don't know. I guess they'll enjoy. It'd be an enjoyable place to take a swim, I guess, right? But yeah, I believe the Houthis. I believe them when they say that anybody that pull up, they're gonna target their asses. So I'm very curious to see how this is gonna play out. I think this shit is gonna hit different, right? Because they're not Hamas. They're a little more dangerous than Hamas or definitely Hezbollah and Hamas, right? This is a whole different animal, right? And I'm gonna play the rest of this, but he specifically said, which I thought was interesting. Al Houthi said, he said, listen, don't send the Saudis. Come yourself. You gotta respect that. You gotta respect this gangster, right? He said, listen, don't send the Saudis. Don't give them no weapons and tell them to come across the border. We already beat their ass and sent them fleeing back into Riyadh, right? See, MBS and his crew, they chopped up a Washington Post journalist in a bathroom in Turkey, right? And nobody said anything. These dudes is a lot harder, you know. He made a statement. He said we don't tolerate injustice. You see, they gonna fight to the death, right? And their whole coastline, they guerrilla fighters. You see, and they pretty much well armed guerrilla fighters, and that whole coastline along the Red Sea that wraps around, right? That's that ain't Gaza. It ain't like shooting unarmed babies in a barrel, basically, right? That's what they doing up in Gaza. You know what I mean? You trap a bunch of babies and children and women, and you box them in, and then you just drop bunker buster bombs on them. Well, that's not gonna work with the Houthis. These number one, they own that whole Red Sea coastline from Saudi Arabia all the way around, right? They run all of that. And so they're not boxed in. You can't just drop bunker buster bombs on them, right? So it's going to be a different animal when they send them people in there. Mind you, that's their territory. So they already know the ocean, all that whole area. They know it like the back of their hand. So when they send those ships in there, my prediction, I'm like Clubber Lang from Rocky. Clubber Lang, what do you predict for the fight? Pain. My prediction is pain. Right? I predict pain for the fight. You see? Personally, I do not think they're going to fight the Houthis. Right? I'm just being funny, but I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even think they're going to fight the Houthis. These people don't really want to do no fighting. They want to do massacres and genocide, like Libya, Syria, right? They want to fight people who hamstrung and really, like the shit in Gaza, right? They want to go in and bomb basically unarmed populations where it's a lopsided fight and then call it a war, right? That's their idea of a fight, right? Kill like 10,000 children and unarmed women. That's their idea of a war and a fight. These guys, they hit different. This will actually be obviously it's going to be guerrilla warfare, right? But that's going to be a real fight. He makes a statement. He said, we're going to make Afghanistan look like a picnic if you come here. You see, I believe him. And I think they believe him too, right? I believe Al Houthi. He's going to make Afghanistan look like a picnic if they decide to go in there, right? And even if they pull up into the Red Sea, I believe that they're going to try to sink every single ship that they send over there, and probably have the ability to do so. See, that's the difference, right? It's not going to be like shooting fish in a barrel, right? Like in Gaza or somewhere like that. The Houthis is different, you see. Not to mention, they'll go after Saudi Arabia, right? Which is going to be a nightmare for oil prices. They've been known to strike Saudi oil fields, and I think they were taking it easy before when they struck the Saudi oil fields. But this time, if the Saudis get involved, they're gonna try to level shit. It's gonna be like a constant strikes on those Saudi oil fields. So, that could be a nightmare for gas prices. Not to mention 12, I think 10 to 12% of the world's oil comes to the Red Sea. That's going to have to be redirected now. You see, and I do believe that they are going to sink somebody's ship. Right, somebody's going to the bottom of the Red Sea. So this will be interesting to watch. I predict, it's going to be painful. For anybody that goes in there fucking with them Houthi rebels. But like I said, on the other hand, I don't think they're going to do it, because they generally only like fighting, unarmed women and children, and people who can't fight back. Where they say, oh well, it's a slam dunk, right? We can just drop bunker buster bombs on people all day, stuff like that. That's kind of the type of shit they like to do. So, you know what I mean? So, I don't really think they're gonna go fuck with these guys. I think what's gonna happen is they're gonna call for a ceasefire, because the Yemenis said, listen, we want a ceasefire on Gaza, right? And so what I think they're going to do is they're going to puff their chest up, and then they're going to kind of, circulate in the area but not go near Yemen to try to, kind of like post up like they're going to do something. And then they're going to force Israel into a ceasefire right before anything kicks off. So that's probably what's going to happen, right? That's what's going to happen. But if they don't do that, then it's going to be painful, right? Then it's going to be a real fight. That Gaza shit is nothing compared to what's going to happen with them Houthis. You see? So anyway, let's play the rest of this.
عن 4 دول من بينها دول عربية وقوى عسكرية في المنطقة إضافة إلى العدو الإسرائيلي، كلها تحاول أن تتلقى الطائرات المسيرة لمحاولة منعها من الوصول إلى أهدافها. تحاول أن تتلقى وتتصدى للصواريخ اليمنية. بعض الدول العربية وللأسف تقدم هذه الخدمة للعدو الصهيوني. إذا أراد أن يرسل جنوده إلى اليمن فإنما سيواجهه في اليمن ليعرف وليفهم وليتيقن، وبإذن الله تعالى سيكون أقسى بكثير مما واجهه في أفغانستان ومما عانى منه في فيتنام. في البحر فهو يخسر حاليا. هو يطلق صاروخ بقيمة $2 مليون لتصدي لطائرة مسيرة قيمتها $2000.